Hi, I'm Coach Kel. Welcome to my mental fitness video series where we discuss everyday mental fitness challenges and tools from psychology and neuroscience that can help. So this first message comes from a friend of mine that volunteered to be the inaugural video subject. She's having a hard time persisting through periodic routine tasks, and we'll take a look at some ways that we can help her with a couple of realities from the neuroscience world, with how dopamine and motivation work naturally. And she writes, "Dear Coach Kel, I don't know why, but I absolutely cannot get myself to finish cleaning my house. The most recent example was while I was doing some work from home a few days ago. I got a bit bored while working on my computer, and I just started to notice how messy my place was. I ended up starting to clean, but I didn't finish. I just ended up on my phone on the couch. This pattern happens fairly regularly, and it's good that she recognizes that this is a pattern. That's a good step. I really want to be able to have a clean place and feel comfortable, but I just can't stand cleaning. Is there a way to make myself like cleaning so I can get it done regularly?" So right away, it sounds like this person recognizes a pattern that's happening that they're dissatisfied with, and that's a very good thing. The vast majority of our actions, over 90%, are driven by our subconscious, where all of our emotional memory lives. And this is why we avoid things that scared us as a kid and why we're attracted to our favorite foods and activities and people. That natural mental functioning applies to any experience, including specific tasks. For me, I hate doing taxes. Every year, I know the deadline is coming, a thought occurs to me about it, and I turn away from the task almost entirely on autopilot. That ick feeling hits, and many times without even thinking, I switch to a task or an activity that I prefer, like taking my dog to the park or doing some work I enjoy or indulging in some Netflix or something. If you naturally dislike cleaning, then unfortunately, there's not really a quick fix to how you feel about it, but it is possible to change that. But for this video, let's get to the short-term goal first, finishing the cleaning. A big part of the reason we turn away from tasks, whether that's quickly at the start or slowly during the task, is our brain's expression of a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is a very, very powerful hormone and neurotransmitter that sets a motivated mental state, one where we have some kind of external goal. Beginning action towards that goal feels very easy, and distracting factors are naturally tuned out. Quite simply, the higher our dopamine level, the easier it is to begin and maintain action towards a goal. Our brain's expression of dopamine for tasks that we have done before is tightly correlated to the positive or negative feel of the memories of the times that we did it before. And this is why it's so easy to, say, move towards an ice cream stand that we see on a scorching hot day. It's also why it's hard not to go to the ice cream stand on a scorching hot day. We know that on a hot day, ice cream is refreshing and delicious and satisfying, all very positive emotions from our memories of ice cream. Now let's think of the opposite. An opposite example might be why it's so hard to go back to a restaurant where we got food poisoning last week, even when we previously loved that restaurant. The negative emotions of that experience are powerful enough for a dramatic shift to occur in our subconscious, where before it felt so easy to go to that restaurant, and now it's uncomfortable to even picture the place in your mind. So what does this mean for finishing our house cleaning? Well, a few big points. 1, our level of dopamine has a pendulum effect. When it spikes, it will always fall back down, but it falls below where it started before coming back to a baseline level. 2, when dopamine's on the way up, it feels good. When dopamine's on the way down, it feels bad. 3, the pattern of wanting to clean, doing some cleaning, ending up on the phone, and failing to restart the cleaning is driven by changes in the amount of dopamine in our brains and the feel of our experiences for each of those things. Hang on, I'll explain. Here's the pattern from the point of view of our friend dopamine. First, we see the dirty place, we don't like the feeling of it, we know that a clean place feels good, so our goal becomes make the house a clean house. Dopamine's going up, and taking action to start cleaning becomes easy. Next, maybe we don't like cleaning, so as we clean, it just wears our motivation down. Dopamine's on the way down, and that shift does not feel good. Next, while we're cleaning and feeling our motivation decrease, we remember that we do like browsing on our phone, and it's right in our pocket. Our goal suddenly becomes to look at our phone. Dopamine's going up, so sitting down on the couch and looking at our phone feels great. Then we promise ourselves that we'll only be on for a few minutes. Right. Next, at some point, much more than a few minutes later, we remember that we should be cleaning, but also that we hate cleaning. Dopamine's going down quickly now because we spiked it with the phone earlier, and the dual pains of stopping our phone use and restarting the act of cleaning feel terrible by comparison. This drop can happen very quickly. Finally, that low dopamine level makes taking further action on cleaning much more difficult. And at the same time, taking action to stay on our phone is very easy, so we stay on the phone. Now, if this is happening to you, don't beat yourself up because it's actually pretty natural. Our brains naturally seek pleasure, and if we leave ourselves on autopilot, many times we end up on the lowest common denominator of pleasure, in this case, doom scrolling on our phone. Now, maybe you're thinking, WTF, what are we supposed to do if dopamine is always naturally working against us? Here's the cool thing. Remember how I said dopamine works like a pendulum? Well, what if we pushed the pendulum in the opposite direction? What if we deliberately spiked our dopamine downward? If you guessed that it would naturally go above baseline, you're exactly correct. Let's go back to that moment where we're looking at our phone on the couch and we remember that we're supposed to be cleaning. Our dopamine level starts falling quickly. Only this time, instead of going back to our phone for more dopamine, we're going to do something that causes it to drop even further. To do this, try to think of something simple that you really don't like to do that doesn't take very long. I'll give you an example. Me, I hate trying to touch my toes. I have what must be the world's tightest hamstrings. It's super uncomfortable to try to do it. I'm so far short of being able to do it. I hate that I can't do it, and I've always wanted to be able to do it. Honestly, the thought of standing up, reaching down, feeling that uncomfortable stretch feeling in my hamstrings and seeing just how much more distance there is to go is just very annoying to me. But wait, lucky me, that's a drop in dopamine, one that I can trigger on my own. Another easy example might be a quick shower on full cold. And I can't think of anyone who unironically enjoys that. The way to use this is, once we notice that we are avoiding the task, like in this case, when we notice we're phone scrolling and doing our best impression of a couch cushion, we immediately push ourselves into our disliked task to really send our dopamine level through the floor. I use this myself. If there's a task that I'm really having trouble getting into, I just try my hardest to touch my toes for a couple of minutes, and then I wait for a couple more. After waiting just a little while, a few seconds to a few minutes, our dopamine will pendulum above baseline. The higher level makes it easier to tune out distractions, including how we hate cleaning. That mental state of easy forward movement towards our clean house goal will be reestablished. After that, we can continue making progress. This is something we can do anytime we need a little bit more dopamine to help us complete the things that we should be doing. So that's today's recommendation for what to do if you need a little help getting things done that you're getting distracted from. And thanks to my friend for helping me kick off this series, and let me know in the comments what some of your ideas are to briefly spike dopamine downward, your own versions of touching your toes. I'm sure there are some people that might be having trouble thinking of one, and they might be stuck on the couch watching this video right now instead of cleaning their house. And if you have a question about a mental challenge you're having, send me a brief email at autonomy with an E, coachkel@outlook.com, and I'll see if I can help with a video about your topic. And by the way, leveraging our natural dopamine curve is a specific application of a much wider set of foundational mental fitness courses for individuals and companies that I teach. I develop these courses from various studies in high-quality, peer-reviewed academic journals. I'm a practitioner. I literally practice what I preach, and I was able to use them to reduce my ADHD medication regimen by 90%. If that sounds interesting to you, again, feel free to send me an email at autonomycoachkel@outlook.com. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.